Ice cream. Eating a full pint of ice cream after a terrible day feels like a lack of willpower, but it's not entirely your fault. Your brain is hunting for a certain combination of ingredients designed to make you feel better. This profile was actually engineered in a lab. In the 1970s, experimental psychologist Howard Moskowitz coined the term bliss point. He spent decades calculating the exact balance of sugar, fat, and salt that maximizes pleasure while eliminating the biological signal telling you to stop eating. Ice cream executes this formula perfectly. The heavy fat slows down digestion, keeping flavor compounds active on your tongue longer. Simultaneously, the sugar triggers a powerful dopamine release. You crave it because your nervous system remembers this exact food delivers a fast hit of comfort when you're stressed. You can't stop eating it because the bliss point intentionally bypasses your fullness receptors. The craving is engineered to restart before the bowl's even empty. Salty foods. The sudden urge to eat an entire bag of pretzels has absolutely nothing to do with being hungry. While it's sometimes a sign of dehydration, an intense salt craving almost always points to your adrenal glands desperately trying to recover from chronic stress. When you're under a lot of pressure, your body pumps out cortisol to keep you functioning. The biological process of creating that cortisol causes your kidneys to excrete more sodium than they normally would. Stay stressed for days on end, and your blood sodium levels drop. Your brain recognizes the deficit and manufactures a craving for salt to force you to replace the very mineral you just depleted. The craving intensifies later in the day because cortisol is cumulative. Every small stressor adds to the total, and sodium excretion increases accordingly. That's why one genuinely bad afternoon can have you salting already salted food without fully understanding why. Red meat. There's a biological reason why an out-of-nowhere craving for a heavy steak feels almost primitive, and it has nothing to do with how the food tastes. Red meat is one of the most bioavailable sources of heme iron, zinc, and B12 on the planet. When your blood is struggling to carry enough oxygen, usually due to mild anemia, heavy physical exertion, or chronic fatigue, your central nervous system bypasses subtle hints. It goes straight to demanding the most efficient source of iron available. Craving a burger or a ribeye with that kind of urgency means your body is actively trying to rebuild its red blood cells. Your brain recognizes an internal supply chain issue and forces you to consume the raw materials needed to get production back online. Sweets. Digging through your desk for that hidden stash of leftover Halloween candy practically every afternoon is just your central nervous system's way of seeking out a resource it's missing. That midday crash represents a measurable drop in blood glucose. Your brain runs exclusively on glucose, and when the supply dips, it refuses to wait for complex carbohydrates that take hours to digest. It demands pure, refined sugar to get immediate energy and keep your cognitive function online. The drive to eat junk food is also heavily influenced by sleep debt. When you're sleep deprived, your body produces more ghrelin to drive hunger and less leptin to suppress it. Your endocrine system shifts your appetite toward fast-acting sweets to prop you up through the rest of the day. The resulting sugar spike provides the quick jolt of energy your exhausted brain needs to keep the lights on until dinner arrives. Crunchy foods. There's a reason you instinctively reach for a bag of chips rather than a carton of yogurt. Much like ice cream, this craving is built primarily around the bliss point. Snacks like tortilla chips and Cheez-Its are scientifically engineered to an exact fat and salt calibration specifically designed to make you crave them while simultaneously overriding your body's ability to feel full. The crunch provides a powerful secondary mechanism when you're stressed. Crunching activates your trigeminal nerve, the nerve responsible for facial sensation, producing a mild stress-relieving effect through repetitive jaw movement. That physical act serves as a built-in release valve, causing a measurable drop in cortisol. Together, they create an unbeatable combination. Your jaw mechanically works off a stress spike, and the engineered ingredient ratio guarantees you won't stop until the bag is empty. Greasy foods. The greasy food craving when you're hungover or running on no sleep has a legitimate physiological basis. Whether your liver is fighting off alcohol toxins or you're just severely exhausted, the physical result is the same. Your cortisol levels shoot through the roof and your blood sugar becomes highly unstable. Your nervous system is overwhelmed, and your gut knows exactly what it needs to force a reset. It demands heavy fat. You crave a greasy burger because fat takes significantly longer to digest than protein or carbohydrates, which physically anchors your crashing blood sugar. On top of that, this slow, prolonged digestion pulls blood flow away from your brain and towards your gut. This creates a grounding effect that blunts your cortisol spike. The sheer mechanical effort of processing all that grease forces your nervous system to calm down. A 2 a.m. trip to Waffle House might not be the best delivery system for this, but biologically speaking, it gets the job done. Chocolate. A daily, unbreakable chocolate habit is almost never driven by a need for sugar. What you're really doing is self-medicating. Your body frequently uses cravings as a blunt tool to treat internal deficits. With chocolate, it comes down to 3 specific compounds: caffeine, theobromine, and magnesium. Caffeine provides a quick, low-dose hit of energy and dopamine to pull your brain out of a slump. Theobromine, a naturally occurring stimulant, acts as a mild vasodilator that relaxes your blood vessels and lowers blood pressure while helping to keep you alert. Then there's magnesium. Women overwhelmingly crave chocolate during hormone fluctuations because their bodies burn through this mineral rapidly during a stress cycle, and cocoa is incredibly dense in it. A strong desire for dark chocolate is really just your brain targeting these particular compounds to correct an imbalance while stabilizing mood and blood pressure at the same time. Your body's incredibly smart at demanding exactly what it needs to fix an internal problem. But as we'll cover later in the video, if you suddenly start craving ice, it has absolutely nothing to do with being thirsty. It's actually a major clinical red flag. Carbs. Desperately craving a huge plate of pasta doesn't necessarily mean your inner Italian is coming out. Your brain's just trying to force your gut to produce a specific chemical to calm you down. Starchy carbohydrates trigger a surge of insulin. That insulin clears competing amino acids out of your bloodstream, leaving a clear path for tryptophan to cross the blood-brain barrier. Once tryptophan gets into the brain, it converts into serotonin, the neurotransmitter responsible for making you feel safe, sleepy, and relaxed. When you're deeply overwhelmed and suddenly want to devour an entire basket of dinner rolls, you're biologically attempting to manufacture your own relaxation through carbohydrate-induced chemical manipulation. The starch forces the endocrine system to flood your body with comfort, turning a standard meal into a temporary coping mechanism. Spicy food. Willingly eating hot sauce that causes actual physical pain is one of the strangest ways humans trick their own nervous system into releasing feel-good chemicals. Capsaicin, the active compound in chili peppers, doesn't literally burn your tongue. It binds to the same pain receptors that detect physical heat. Your brain interprets this signal as a real injury. To help you cope with the tissue damage, your central nervous system floods your body with endorphins and dopamine. These natural painkillers create a mild, localized high. People who constantly crave painfully spicy food use this burning sensation to hijack their own neurochemistry. While the pain is entirely manufactured, the chemical reward is completely real. But just like an actual drug habit, your brain eventually builds a tolerance to it, forcing you to need more to get the same effect. It's the only addiction where the gateway drug is a packet of Taco Bell hot sauce, and rock bottom is buying a bottle of ghost pepper extract with a skull on the label just so you can feel something. Cheese. Spicy food isn't the only thing that acts like a drug in your system. There's a biological reason why cheese is so notoriously habit-forming, and it comes down to a specific dairy protein. Cheese is heavily packed with a protein called casein. During digestion, casein breaks down into smaller chains called casomorphins. These compounds cross the blood-brain barrier and bind to the same receptors as opioid drugs. While the effect won't actually get you high, it triggers a powerful reward response that makes the food feel uniquely comforting. Combine that chemical hook with a hit of fat and salt, and your brain locks onto cheese as the ultimate feel-good food. The reason you can't stop after just one slice of pizza stems entirely from those opioid receptors being actively manipulated. It's a pure chemical trap that encourages more consumption. Fresh foods. Waking up and suddenly craving fresh veggies or fresh fruit feels like a tremendous win for your diet, but it's really your body trying to correct a nutritional deficit. After a long period of eating ultra-processed foods or heavy meals, your system gets completely bogged down. Cravings for cold, crisp apples, broccoli, or salads are driven by 2 main factors: your gut microbiome and a lack of specific micronutrients. Trillions of bacteria in your gut rely on dietary fiber to produce short-chain fatty acids, which reduce inflammation and support your immune system. When you starve those bacteria by eating junk, they send chemical signals to your brain demanding fiber-rich produce. On top of that, your body's likely running low on potassium, magnesium, and B vitamins, alongside vitamin C, which humans cannot synthesize and must consume regularly. That sudden urge to eat a giant salad isn't a newfound commitment to health, it's just your gut bacteria staging a mutiny and demanding you feed them a carrot. Bitter foods. Nobody's born liking the harsh, bitter taste of black coffee or dark greens. Your body has to be biologically convinced that it needs it. Humans are hardwired to reject bitter flavors because, in nature, bitter usually means toxic. Developing a genuine craving for Brussels sprouts, radishes, or bitter coffee is a learned behavior tied directly to your liver and gallbladder. Much like craving a salad when your system is backed up, bitter compounds stimulate the vagus nerve, which immediately forces the liver to produce bile and the stomach to increase acid production. If your digestion has been sluggish or you've been eating poorly, the body will start seeking bitter flavors to force the digestive system to wake up and process heavy fats. Over time, the brain learns to associate the initially unpleasant taste with the immense physical relief of a properly functioning gut. It perfectly explains our deep devotion to morning coffee. It's not always about the caffeine. Sour foods. Suddenly wanting to bite into a lemon or eat sour candy is a direct physiological reaction to your stomach failing to do its job. Sour flavors are highly acidic, and craving them is the body's attempt to artificially lower the pH of your stomach. When you have low stomach acid, a condition called hypochlorhydria, you can't properly break down food. This leads to nausea or that uncomfortable bloated sensation that makes you feel like you gained 20 pounds in an hour. Seeking out extreme sour flavors acts as a physiological maneuver to chemically shock the system back to a functional baseline. Pregnant women frequently experience these kind of cravings to suppress morning sickness because delivering a rapid dose of acid forces digestive action and jump-starts the breakdown of whatever is stalling in the digestive tract. Sour Patch Kids are not exactly the medical intervention your gut had in mind, but your body will work with whatever it's got. Ice. Compulsively chewing ice is so specific to one medical condition that doctors use it as a diagnostic sign. Your body isn't craving the cold, it's trying to redirect blood flow to your brain, and ice is the fastest method it has. The condition is iron deficiency anemia. When red blood cell production drops below functional levels, your brain receives less oxygen than it needs to operate efficiently. Chewing ice, a condition called pagophagia, triggers sudden vasoconstriction in your mouth, redirecting blood flow toward the brain as a compensatory response. The effect is measurable. Anemic patients report significant improvement in alertness and cognitive function within minutes of chewing ice, not because of any nutritional content, but purely because of the circulatory redirection. No other food or drink produces this same response. Pagophagia is almost never seen in people with healthy iron levels, and almost always disappears once iron is restored. The craving is just your body realizing your brain is starved for oxygen, and figuring out a way to fix it on its own. Constant snacking. The craving where nothing satisfies, where you eat a full meal and are starving an hour later, is rarely related to food. It's your body misreading 3 different physiological distress signals and confusing them all with being hungry. The first is dehydration. Your hypothalamus regulates both thirst and hunger, and when hydration drops, the signals it sends are nearly identical. Most people eat when they should be drinking. The second is sleep deprivation. A lack of sleep scrambles your appetite signals and makes your body demand quick calories just to stay alert. The third is chronic stress. Elevated cortisol spikes your cravings for calorie-dense foods and blocks your ability to register that you're already full. When all 3 are running at once, which is most people on most days, your brain is receiving constant hunger signals from 3 separate systems, none of which are accurate. Throw in some boredom on top of it all, and you'll shove just about anything in your mouth. Every bizarre craving you get is simply your nervous system trying to balance its own chemistry and navigate modern stress. At least now, when you catch yourself raiding the fridge at midnight, you'll know there's more to it than just a lack of self-control.